Yeah, I mean, there's a few memorable sort of recording experiences. I think the one that stands out is working with Brian Eno. Can you come in next Wednesday or whatever to the studio and do some recording? So you'd go in and ahead of time you'd have no idea what you were going to do. And I remember one occasion he sat down at the piano and he went with an A, I think it was an A, dum dum, dum dum, dum dum, dum dum. And that was the starting point. So it's an interesting concept because anything can happen. So there was myself, Phil Collins. So anyway, we started playing with this dum dum, and it turned into sort of dum dum, dum dum, dum dum, it turned into that. So it was quite uncanny, how this idea that he had just seemed to like grow on its own. It was like some mysterious force going on. So I remember doing that and then leaving him with this basic track. And when the record came out, he'd done some editing. He'd added his thing on the top of it, and it was this, I thought, really beautiful piece of music that he ended up with. And it was just a fascinating way to approach music. It's not normal at all, compared to what I was used to. To play very wide intervals, and I don't have very big hands, so to play certain wide intervals, for example, trying to play an A on the E string and an E on the top G string is very tough for me. I mean, I can do it, but it's an effort, so it's much easier to borrow a technique from classical bass players and bring the thumb over to get the bottom string. And it's just much easier. And again, you can arpeggiate lines. Kind of like that. Or it's a whole bunch of fifths, or chording, alternating 1 and 3. Something else to talk about is introducing the thumb, which we haven't got into before, and using the thumb to catch notes on the bottom string, especially the open string. And incidentally, I should mention I tune the bottom string to a C and not a B, so keep that in mind. This is a C. One example, which is so what I have to do there is when I'm playing that open C with the thumb, I have to keep a finger sitting, well in this case on the A string, to keep my hand sort of locked in position. Because if you don't do that and you let your hand fly off, then you have to come back and find your position, which takes a bit of time. So that works for me anyways, keeping a pivot there. A nicer bass line is this one, which it's all harmonics. The G harmonic is played with the sign of the thumb up here in the left hand, then the F sharp and B, and then the C, a regular C and the open C. An example of, in this case, thumbing the open E string instead of the C. This is from a tune called Barrier, which actually we're doing with the band, so you probably recognize this. Like that. Just one final thing to talk about with technique is to always remind yourself to relax, especially, you know, the shoulders and the neck. And it's quite natural when you're working on things over and over to get tense, you know, and you end up with sometimes a backache or a headache. So what I do is, you know, you've got to twist the old neck like this. I do this once in a while. You really just keep twisting it. Oh, as far as you can go. I'm really twisting that top vertebrae. It snapped. So I really worked on that top vertebrae and I feel great now.